Kevin, you played for the Red Sox a while back. Now you're getting into more studio analyzing for baseball. What was that transition like for you a few years ago?
It's a great question because when you're a ball player, it's all you know. And then the first day you're doing this television stuff, I didn't know how to tie a tie or put the mic on with the earpiece. But, the good thing with Intentional Talk when we started, it was more of a clubhouse feel on television, so you can kind of be yourself.
Another NFL player here this week, Dwight Freeney, going into the Hall of Fame. What have you? What experience have you guys had here, and what memories do you have of him playing?
Of Dwight playing?
Yeah.
Oh man, what an animal! We played against him a couple different times. He was in Indy, he was in Arizona. There's certain guys that transcend the game where they bring something to it that changes the way people play and people try and copy. And his was a spin move. I mean, his spin move. He's so damn strong. He could just get his hands on you and get in that spin move and get to the quarterback. And when that him and Mathis going, whew, that was some rough times. But I love Dwight. He loves golf. He is an avid golfer and a really good guy.
Well, DeMarcus Ware, obviously another defensive end, he brought it up. He had the greatest reaction about your spin move, and he mentioned, I want to replicate it. All these people can copy it, but you created it. How did that develop at such a young age? Like, what was that moment where it's just like, maybe this thing can work for the rest of my career?
Well, I think for me, I was a big and one mixtape guy, so I wanted to find ways to bring that and one mixtape type of style where you're out there embarrassing that guy who's trying to defend you. For us in football, that guy who's trying to block you. So that was the best way I could think of to really make him look silly.
There also seems to be a misconception of younger players overthrowing as of late, and it's been a trend recently where I know a lot of teams and coaches are trying to cut down on that. What's your philosophy on limiting the overthrowing?
Well, the guys are, everybody's so caught up in speed, and velocity, and pitching is like buying a new house, location or property, location.
Deasia Fair finished with 31 points. Incredible stuff. 9 3-pointers. Yeah, 9. 9 3-pointers for Deasia Fair, the only player for Syracuse to finish in double figures.
Well, we can talk about the Four Nations face-off. We can talk about Syracuse's mishaps across a multitude of sports. But we're going to start with Syracuse men's lacrosse, suffering its first loss of the season against 6th-ranked Maryland last weekend. Now is the 6th-ranked squad itself. The Cuse welcomed 15th-ranked Harvard earlier today in the Dome. Well, speaking of physicality, how does that open an avenue for not only girls but also boys where they can have another opportunity to play football without getting hit all the time?
Well, look, it's going to be in the Olympics. I know Chris McCaffrey told me he would miss a season to go to the Olympics and win a gold medal.
Good evening. I'm Nico Horning back here on NCC News. Plenty went down today in the world of sports and entertainment. However, all eyes were on Super Bowl 59 earlier today. Unless, of course, you were sick of the Eagles and the Chiefs playing each other for the second time in the last 3 years. Taylor Swift has only shown a couple of times on national television, but the halftime show may have ended up being the most entertaining part of a fairly lopsided affair in New Orleans, especially if you're a Kansas City fan. We'll get into that here in a minute. But Jalen Hurts right off the bat in the middle of the first quarter, finding Jahan Dotson down the right sideline. That was overturned, and that forced Jalen Hurts to run it in for a 1-yard score. Philly on the board first. KC still looking for something. Middle of the second quarter, Mahomes over the middle. Cooper DeJean, the rookie from Iowa, picks it off and takes it all the way to the house. Philly up 17-0. This defense was insane today. They got to Mahomes 6 times, the most in his career. Jalen Hurts lofting it all the way down the field to Devontae Smith. That sealed the deal. And KC with the loss. Philadelphia 40-22. Fly Eagles fly. You got Florida winning the whole thing?
Absolutely.
Okay, that's your pick.
The whole thing.
Florida for Jish, Tennessee for Amon, and that does it for this morning's March Madness preview show. Again, 2 more first 4 games tonight, American and Mount St. Mary's, and then Texas and Xavier. We're not the Final Four quite yet. A couple weeks till we get to that point. Jish Sokolsky, Amon Mahdi, Nico Horning. Have a great day. ACC's newest team, Stanford, Cal, and SMU, have created another layer of drama when it comes to travel and women's soccer. Since the expansion of the conference ahead of this year, plenty of discussions have revolved around the obstacle of limiting miles in the air for student athletes. The first sport to be put to the test is soccer. So let's dive into what a few teams are feeling this season. We start here in Syracuse, where the Orange and the Tar Heels are going at it right now. That comes after Syracuse lost to SMU last week. They had to travel to Dallas and then came back. That's the farthest Syracuse has to go to this year. When this game's over, North Carolina, they'll jump on the plane, head back home to Chapel Hill, play a couple of games before gearing up to travel all the way across the country to Northern California. They'll play Cal, cross the Bay Bridge, coast through San Francisco, and play Stanford as well before coming all the way back to the East Coast. So one West Coast trip for UNC. Syracuse only goes to Dallas, but let's take a look at what Stanford and Cal have to do. They have to make 2 East Coast trips this year. One of those includes Wake Forest and NC State. They're playing each other right now before jumping back on the plane all the way to the West Coast. Remember, these planes are not private. They're traveling just like us. They're taking layovers to select cities, so a lot of travel for these student athletes. Their second East Coast trip features Louisville and Notre Dame before jumping back on the plane and heading all the way back to Northern California. That is Stanford and Cal. Stanford, on the other hand, also has to travel to Dallas and play SMU. 12,000 miles total for the Cardinal this year. The other 9 ACC teams stay up and down the East Coast. They got rather lucky, and Syracuse got lucky as well with the easier end of things when it comes to air travel this season, Ian.
Here's Maldonado Diaz, dug by Schlichter. Searzant sets up George. Again, another soft touch from Syracuse. Not soft from Maldonado Diaz, and a nice dig by Schlichter again, but this time Searzant mistimed the hit of Harris Waddy, and Louisville will take that point to even it up.
Yeah, that was a setter-hitter miscommunication right there. It seems like Zaria thought that she was going for a different attack, but Searzant set a quicker, lower set, and they just weren't able to work and figure it out on that set. So. And
Syracuse head coach Bakir Ganasharanam told us both ahead of this game that it's going to have to come down to limiting the errors from the Syracuse perspective. They've done that for the majority of the night, but it's those missed time plays that can't happen as Louisville goes up 2-1.
I mean, here's that big block again for Louisville. We see it so often, and they do so well with closing it up and seeing where the attacker is to take away their strong shot.
Palm had 0 kills in set 1. Couldn't get through the block, but you know who does get through the front line? Veronica Searzant.
Setters who attack, I mean, setters who are front row and able to dump, that right there is such a beautiful thing to see because you also never know when it's coming. So when it's a tight ball like that, you got to watch out for those front row setters.
Searzant, again, we talk about those timely mistakes. Service error for Syracuse. But for Searzant, a great kill just a minute ago. Syracuse isn't doing it with the velocity. They're doing it by the touch and the IQ, and they're playing smart tonight. Still down 2-0. And Waller goes too far on that attempt, so Louisville in front 4-2. In set 1, it was Louisville taking it 25-17, and then 25-18 in set 2. We'll see what the rest of set 3 has in store. But Layla, Syracuse hanging around tonight.
They are. I mean, it's great to see because sometimes you can be so defeated when you're playing these high-ranked teams in the ACC right now. I mean, it is the best conference right now in the country. So the momentum has to keep it up.
And there is Kara Cressy with the block. Hannah Shurman to send it off. That goes off the top of the tape, skids into the dig of Palm. Now she goes back for the kill. Couldn't do so. DeBeer. Dug out by George. Searzant over to Palm again, and the block stands strong for Louisville.
We were just talking about how Cressy is quiet right now, and there she goes with that big, massive block, doing what she does best. Getting points for a team with her defensive skills.
This third set so far for Louisville really represents the Cardinals, at least what they've been doing for the majority of this year. It's the block, and it's taking advantage of mistakes that's come on the other side. And in this case, Syracuse with a couple of service errors. Good block by Sydney Waller. Syracuse says, hey, we know you have one of the best blockers in the country, but we got some players ourselves, and Sydney Waller picks up a block right there for Syracuse.
That's what you have to do right now in moments like this with attackers like Louisville's. You have to be able to block, and Waller did a great job with seeing that and pressing over.
First block of the game for Waller. And for Cressy, her 5th kill of the contest. Kara Cressy's really been active here in the third set, and Louisville is opening it up with Cressy, the redshirt junior from Fort Wayne, Indiana.
Nico, it's almost like she heard what we said, and she just picked it up.
I feel like that's always how it goes, right?
I mean, look at her. She's on fire now.
All Louisville here in the third set so far. And now it's the Islanders towards our left side. 3-on-2 at the moment. Pass got sent a little bit too far to Liukas. Now he's getting jammed into the boards by Roman Schmidt. Puck comes out into the possession for a one-timer by Balduke, and that one gets blocked by Tompkins. Puck is picked up over at the far side. Gonsalves weaving through center, and he gets pickpocketed by Liukas. He goes to the bench, gets a change, and onto the ice is Matt Copperroot from Denver, Colorado, tied Arizona State's single-season record last year with a career-high 23 goals. Walford has it for the Crunch in between the blue lines. Over to Hooten and far side. Flips it into the zone for Syracuse with under 8 to go here in the third. Crunch down 4-2 to the Islanders. Now it's Balduke, and he lifts it up and out for Bridgeport. Icing is called, back down the other way. Equidistant with Matt Tompkins, who defends for the Crunch. Do you have settling floors, wall cracks, or bowing basement walls? These problems don't get better with time. A small foundation issue can turn into a big nightmare that can affect your home safety and decrease its resale value. Woodford's patented solutions are designed to handle all types of foundation failures. Let them repair your foundation and put your home back on solid ground. Call Woodford Brothers today and preserve and protect your home's value. 866-500-5937. Face off to the left of Skerrick, won by Bridgeport with 7:40 to go here in the third. Crunch down 4-2. Crunch keep it in their offensive zone. Here's Hooten and Finley here at the near side of the half wall, trying to keep the puck back in. Hooten races over to the far corner, picked up by Justin Gill for Bridgeport. He beat him to it. Justin Gill spins out of the zone, and they get the clear. Now Carlisle at the red line, moves in to the offensive zone for Syracuse, winds it around the boards. Over to the far side for Jack Finley. Finley made his NHL debut last week. Gets it up to Pouliot, passes it over to Carlisle, but it comes out of the zone. And the Crunch have to reset. 7 minutes to go here in the third period. Crunch down 4-2 to the Islanders. Here's Nico Hooten in right point. Moves it along the boards to the near side for Finley over at the near corner. Now Jack Finley in the trapezoid. Bangs it off the far boards for Pouliot. Picks it up, glides it across again. Pass set a little bit too far. Carlisle has to come out of the zone. Puck is controlled by Bridgeport in its own end. After the Crunch dump it in. 6:45 to go in the third. Syracuse down 4-2. As a whistle is blown, the puck got sent down through all three zones. Keep up to date with the Crunch. Follow the Crunch on our social media platforms, including Facebook, Instagram, X, YouTube, and TikTok. That's right, TikTok is back. Those quality connections are brought to you by Northland Communications. Face-off at center. 6:40 to go here in the third. Crunch down 4-2. They once trailed 4-0 in this game in the second period. Syracuse wins it. Now it's Scott Walford over the far side. Dumps it in for the Crunch. Jujar Kara, who had the goal here in the third period for the Crunch, tries to pick it up, but instead it's taken by Grant Hutton. Hutton, the alternate captain for this Bridgeport team, gets it over to the near side for Thiesing. And he loses it for Scott Walford for the Crunch. And he gives it to Steven Santini, who gets it up ahead to Logan Brown. The redirect goes right to Skerrick, and a crashing Gonsalves makes him cover it up. 6:15 to go here in period number 3. Syracuse trails Bridgeport 4-2. Well, the Crunch have shown some fight here as of late. Things look bleak for a while, but they are still out shooting Bridgeport 41-21 in this game. Those numbers brought to you by Nave Law Firm. The Crunch have outshot the Islanders 14-3 here in the third period. Very similar issue to what we saw on Monday in the second period, when the Crunch outshot the Comets 18-11. A lot of volume, just couldn't get anything to go. They do have one here in the third, but trying to add some more. They're going to need 2 more to tie. As the puck breaks out right to left for Bridgeport, it's Foodie. Now he gets the puck stolen by Bisson, but right when he got sent up ahead, Ryan Niemi sent it back in for Bridgeport. He'll go to the bench. And onto the ice for the Islanders is Cam McDonald, the undrafted rookie from Anchorage. Here is Foodie. Turns around in between the blue lines. Gets it to Jamel Smith, the former Crunch. Loses it to Toby Bisson there at the near corner. And now it's picked up by Gage Gonsalves, but it's stolen by Jamel Smith. Back into the stick of Bisson for the Crunch. Gets it to the red line. Jamel Smith punches it back into the offensive zone. Here's a shot from the right circle. That one stopped. And it deflected out of play. Timeout here in Syracuse. 5.5 to go in the third period. Crunch still down 4-2 to the Islanders. 2 more goals needed to tie this thing up. Crunch have the last 2, but they're going to have to add 2 more. When we come back on ESPN Radio.